A new client walks in. She was referred to you by a longtime client, so you couldn't say no. And she walks in the door, and she's got massive, thick, curly hair. So are you the type of stylist that gets excited and starts thinking, oh my God, I got a project, what am I going to do? Or are you the kind of stylist that thinks, oh my God, how do I get out of this right now? Okay. A lot of my curly clients, when they come to see me for the first time, have had multiple horrible experiences with stylists. And it's our fault, honestly, because we haven't done the work to understand this fiber. This is a very different fiber than straight hair. I was taught, and I love the belief that there's cotton and there's cashmere. This is cashmere. When you buy a cashmere sweater, you learn how to wash it, you dry it differently, you style it differently, you wear it differently. This is cashmere. Once you understand how to work with cashmere, limitless. Your potential is limitless, because no client will sell you more than a curly girl. She will be loyal. She will tell all her friends. Everybody at the bank that loves her hair will say, where'd you get your hair done? And she will build you an unlimited amount of new cash revenue. So I always tell my people, us workers, take your time and get to know this product, okay? My name's Richie Roman, and I'm a curly hairstylist. And what I'm going to talk about today, and the pattern I'm going to show you today, is called comfort curls. And I call it comfort curls because I want us to get comfortable coloring our curly clients and introducing them to color. But I also want the client to be comfortable with you coloring their hair, because they've been traumatized, they've had bad experiences, and when they first come see me, the first thing they say is, I spent $300 on highlights and they just became little top ramen worms swimming in my head. You couldn't see them. Spent all that time and all that money and did all that damage to the integrity of their cashmere to not be happy with the color result. So the pattern I'm going to show you today is one I do on my timid clients to get them introduced to color. And it also, for us stylists, gives us a different way of looking at throwing foil patterns, because we all are robots and we're trying to make the most money we can. So we get in there and we do our same foil patterns every time on every client. The difference is, on a straight-haired girl, the color lives down here and in here when the wind blows. In a curly girl, like this girl over here, it lives on the surface. The color's out here. So if you spend 10 hours working in these guts in here, you're not going to see it on a curly girl, because this is what you're going to see in the impact. Same way if you were to do a partial on a mannequin head, and this half I just wanted to show you guys. That's what the natural mannequin hair comes like, and this is a technique I'm going to show you today, the foil pattern. That's what it comes out looking like. But on curly hair, because of the way it's layered, if you throw the same exact angle of foils, when it dries, you're going to see the line of every pattern, every foil you threw. And that curly girl is going to be putting it up in a bun for the next year until that grows out. So I'm going to show you guys a different kind of way of thinking. First couple times you do it, take your time, because again, we're not in robot mode. We're not just throwing the same pattern. Get a friend that has curly hair, get a client that trusts you. Be like, we're going to take a little bit of time, but let's play a little bit, okay? First thing we're going to do to start this girl off, aside from being confident and making her feel like we got this, we're going to do this, it's going to look great, okay? That's the first thing, because they're already scared as hell. And if we're scared as hell, that is not a comfortable place to be for 3-4 hours, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by slightly differently parting her hair. I part for this in circles, in domes. I go from temple to temple, all the way around, and that's one dome for me, okay? That's one of the most important domes, because curly hair, like pineapples, grow this way. A lot of the emphasis we're putting on colors on curly girls is right here. It's what they see, and it's what the world sees. Nobody sees in there, okay? So this is my number one spot. I'm going to take a circle from ear to ear, and I'm going to separate it. I've already done that. My second section with this one, second circle is going to go from right behind the ear all the way around to the other side of the ear. And one of the things I like to tell people when they start doing curly hair is this is not straight hair. You're not going to go in here and go like this and expect it to go and come apart. Curls are families. They love their little families. They hold on to each other. They're going to stick together no matter what, even in rain. So they want to stay together. So when you're going in here and you're separating a curly girl, don't rip her life out and make her see blind because you just ripped all that out. Instead, I go in there, I give a little tug. If there's a family that's sticking together, I grab it, and you start just with little hairs, because it's always just 1 or 2 hairs holding that whole mass together. And I just keep going with my fingers, and then boom, she'll let me go, okay? So for this one, our second panel is going to be, and if you noticed, I didn't go straight. I do piano fingers so that the curls can kind of separate themselves and work with that. Okay, that's going to be my second section. Now, even though this is my second section, I'm still going to break this up to front and back, okay? That's my second section. My third section is from behind the ear all the way to behind the ear. This is my third section, and we're going to split this one in half, okay? How many of you currently cut curly clients and they leave your chair diffused, ready to go dry? Okay, very good, very good. Hi, friends, very good. I call my curl friends, my curly clients, my curl friends, because we're a small tribe and we need to stick together. Okay, now this is the last section right here. Now that we've separated that in half, we're going to go back to that second section and kind of just keep the line going. Well, we're ultimately making our boxes, squares, because I'm going to work off of a square foundation. Mannequin heads are funny, so that's kind of straight, and that's as straight as we're going to get her. So now I've separated the front half, and as you can see, there's my square all the way around. There's my second square. Well, I'm going to take this one down the middle right here. Second square is right here. I'm going to separate right from behind the ear, straight up. That's going to be my third square in that same section. And then this is going to be my last square. And I'm going to say squares and triangles a lot. I don't mean to confuse you, but this pattern is squares and triangles. The whole thing, okay? So now you have square, square in front of the head, square, square in the back, and you're ready to go right there, okay? Now, if this were a conservative client, she doesn't want a lot of impact. She doesn't want a lot of visible color. She kind of wants that more relaxed Saint-Tropez, went to the Bahamas, got a little bit of color on my tips without any maintenance. I would use this entire square as my section. That would be my section. If she wanted to go daring a little bit more, and I have two models I'm going to bring out that I've used this technique on. They're sisters, and both curly girls, both very different textures. One went more subtle and conservative as sun-kissed, and one went a little more fun and pow with it. So you'll get to see both sides of it in a minute. But for the conservative one, I took this back section right here. Okay. Now, if she wanted to be more wild and add more color, I would break this square into two squares and do the same thing. 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square. If I wanted to be conservative, I leave them together and just make it one huge square. Okay. With your square, you're going to go from the corner of the square to the center of the square. And it's going to feel weird, but what we're trying to do is not have the repetitive line going across curls. So we're going to go from this corner to the center of the square right there. And again, sorry, baby, sorry, baby, sorry, baby, sorry, baby. Tell her you know it hurts. If she jumps too much or she's very tender-headed, apologize to her and work with her and be a little patient. But you don't want to wet curly hair. You know how sometimes for people, when they do balayage, they do like a wet balayage? You don't want to do that on curly hair because it absorbs water super fast because the cuticles go in a circle. They don't lay flat. They go in a circle. So every time there's a bend in the curl, the cuticle sticks out like a porcupine. So they suck that water right in. There's nothing holding them flat down. That also is what makes them so vulnerable to breakage because that cuticle is sticking straight up and sticks to everything. Okay? So we're going to go from corner to the center. And you're going to notice I don't use a lot of foiling combs, and I don't do a lot of straight lines because curls are round and there are no straight lines and curls in my world. Everything it can be a little bit off, it's okay. Okay? I take that. There's my first section. I've split the square in half. Now I have a triangle. I told you squares and triangles. Now I have a triangle. I'm going to take from this triangle a little sliver right off the top. Just a thin little sliver that you can read a newspaper through. Again, look, she's tangled right there. If I rip that, that'll hurt her. But if I come out here with my comb and go like this, boop, 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 she's done, detangled. Okay? I'm going to take that, and I have here bleach with 15 volume, because against what people believe, curls look strong. They look like they're made of armor. They look tough, but they're probably the most fragile hair you're going to get your hands on because they're incredibly fine. Does anybody in the audience know what makes a hair grow curly instead of straight? Anybody? The cuticle, where it comes out of. Straight hair comes out of a perfect round straw, so it gets to perfectly come all the way down. A curly hair is coming out of an almond-shaped or football-shaped cuticle, so it squeezes its way out, kind of like when you're making a cake with a ribbon, you're decorating the cake. The tip is completely round for a perfect straw, but the more cylindrical it gets, the more slanted it gets, the tighter the corkscrew of the curl. So a lot of the good oils that straight hair has that come out with it stay behind in the scalp. So what comes out is incredibly dry a lot of times. So as strong as it looks and as strong as it is a baby fragile curl that needs a little bit of love. So after I take that first section, that first thin section of that triangle, I'm going to foil that, and I'm going to be using on her again 15 volume and bleach as one, and my second bowl is going to have high lift 10.21 with 20 volume. I know that's not conventional. High lift is made for high lift. So we normally use it for 30 volumes and double 40 volumes to get maximum lift. Because she's a brunette and because my client wants a conservative lift, not a dramatic lift, I use a high lift 10.21 with 20 volume because I don't want the lift of the 40 volume, but I want all the gasoline that comes with that lift in a high lift, which is all the blue, rich toner. So it's lifting and toning without having to lift you to 40, just at the 20, and it stays at a perfect 6-7 caramel with not a lot of warmth, with a very controlled warmth. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. First one is going to be her high lift, and I don't ever go with curls and make a flat straight line and go up because they're going to shrink up individually on their own. So you don't want strong lines so that you could see that line. So I'll kind of point up, and with this technique, I do high lift very high up. With bleach, I only do the bottom half of the curl because I want her to get blonde and golden, and I want her to have a few golden highlights, but just peppered through at the end, not going all the way up. Unless she was doing handstands in the Bahamas, which that's on her, the sun would never really hit in there anyway. So I'm only going to be doing the bleach on the bottom half. But on these guys, I'm going to saturate it. When you get to the end of a curl, this foil is long, so we're easy. When you get to the end of the foil, I give my curl a tug before I color the end, and I really saturate that bottom piece. Because when you put that curl over and let it go, most of the time it's going to go shrink and shrink up on you. And then this is going to come off. But if you give this a nice tug, apply a ton of product there, when you let it go, it kind of sticks to it, so it doesn't shrink up on you. Okay? When I foil my curls and fold them, I don't fold them incredibly tight. I'm not going to get them perfect neat packet flatness because curls are round. I don't want them colored flat where one side gets color and the other side doesn't, and you end up with that ribbon candy cane effect. I leave a little bit of room in there for them to oxidize and fluff themselves up. Okay? So I just threw in the first foil, which is that thin corner. Right behind this one, I'm going to take another thin section. Oh, sorry, baby, sorry, baby, sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. There we go. I'm going to take that second one, and this one I'm going to do the bleach on, okay? This one I'm going to just give a light pump. Back home, just tease, just to diffuse the line a little bit. And with curls, you never want to really go back here like you do with normal balayage, because you're going to end up with a mat in there that she's going to kill you, and you're going to hate life, okay? So I stretch it out really nice and tight, and with my fingers, with your fingers when you're foiling or holding curls, I kind of use it like a flat iron, and you feel where the tangle, there's a tangle right there, and there's a tangle right there. You can feel it. So sometimes just by using your thumb and your fingers, you can smooth any little tangles out so you don't hurt her. So I'll always kind of run through it, and then I'm going to just start about 2 inches from the roots and do 1 pump, another 2 inches, 2 pumps. And that's it, because that with conditioner, I can get out real easy and she won't hate me. Okay? When I do my bleach, typical, the technique that I'm teaching you, there's nothing new here. It's just a different way to do what you already do to get a different result. So with my bleach, I like a wet brush. I start in the middle, and I just kind of comb my way up, because I don't like harsh lines, just like you do anything. And before I let this tightness go, I'm going to slap that sucker on there so that it doesn't shrink up on me. Okay? And again, let the curl up. And you can see some of that side has no color. That side has color. If you squeeze it flat, that's exactly what your color is going to come out like. I go through a lot of color on my curly girls because A, I want their color to come out right the first time, and I want the color to completely saturate and be even. So I oversaturate my curls to make sure that they get enough color on them. Okay? Now you've done a high lift above this one. In this triangle, you've done a high lift, and then you've done a bleach. Okay? Now you've got this half of the square left. Now we're going to go from where we last left this one in the center of that square, and we're going to go to the other corner. So you basically made a V out of that square. Now we have a V there, a V there, a V there, okay? You're going to do the same exact thing on this side. You're going to take your little thin line that you can read through. You're going to apologize to her until you can get that comb through. You're going to place your foil all the way to the root. I'll do one more, and then we'll go up to the side sections. You're going to put one more. And again, because this one's a high lift, I'm going to go pretty heavy with going up high. On the bleach, I'm only doing half a head. And this curly girls, you know, their curls lift off their scalp. It has like a little engine, and so it kind of makes its first curl. So I never go all the way to the scalp with a curly girl, because then as that curl grows out, no two hair grow at the same pace. With a curl, that means that hair that looks like this is going to go like that on you, and their curls are going to look really wanky at the top. So I never go all the way up. I leave those first little rows of circles to themselves. Play, be happy, I'll get you next time. Okay? Saturate, saturate. And you know what? Another thing, I don't do it because I just don't do it. But some curly stylists will saturate their foil first before they slap the curl on there so it can have something to stick to and not shrink up on you. Okay? I don't do it because that's not how my mentor did it, and I got in trouble if I didn't do what my mentor said. Okay, so we did that first one on top of the V, which is a high lift. Right underneath it, again, right underneath it, we're going to take another thin section. Sorry. And see, I feel like I'm really doing my people because I say that all day as I'm working on them. Sorry, Linda, sorry. But they know exactly why. And they're appreciative. A curly girl is incredibly appreciative if you can tell her your shortcomings. And I'm not good at styling at the end of the style. I'm great at color. Would you like me to style your hair out curly, or would you like to do it yourself at my station? A curly girl will sit there and diffuse her own hair in your station as long as she doesn't have to go home, undo everything you just did to redo it, which is what most of them do, because they come cry and tell me. So always be honest with them. You know, I'm great at color. I'd love to try this on you, but my blowout on curls isn't the best. Do you want to work on it with me, or do you want to do it yourself? A curly girl will thank you till you can't believe for being honest with her. Okay, again, I'm not going high up because this is a bleach, and I just want these to kind of peek out. Okay? Now, if this were the girl that wanted a lot more, we would have had two of these squares. The top part of the V, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to go across this line first. That first thin line is going to go straight across the top of the V. Okay? And that's going to be your high lift, your first one. And then right behind that, you're going to take your next thin one, and that's going to be, sorry. That's going to be your bleach. Now, if she was extravagant and she really wanted to go there, and she was like, I am so down with color, do it. I would also add on this little center in the section in the center, I would pump it really hard and just kind of do the ends. So that way the whole section, there will be not a lot of contrast because almost every hair is going to be colored there. Very minimal maintenance, very easy grow out. Okay? So this is the first half of her head. We're going to do the same exact thing to this half of her head. Okay? So those two are foiled. The back two are foiled. When we get to the sides, we're going to do the same exact thing, just alter it a tiny bit. When we get to these front sections, we have hairlines to deal with. So we always know the money piece is the most important. What they see around their face is super important. So I'll take my corner from the corner to the center of my square, just like I did before. There's my square. I'm going to go from the corner to the center. But instead of only throwing one, right here, I'm going to foil all of this into 3 separate foils. Because this is her impact. This is what she wants to see. So I'm going to be doing the same pattern, just slightly different. Because on this girl, I'm going to throw one foil right here. My next one is going to be, that one I'm going to back comb and just do the whole section. This one, I'm going to do a real fine weave on it. And then this last one, I'm going to pump and do the whole thing. Okay, that's this half of the V. And that's just the only thing you're going to be doing different than everything else is that. Next section. Again, from the center of the ear to the next corner. So if you remember anything that crazy guy said on the stage, just remember square, corner to center, straight across the top. Okay? Now this section, we're going to do the same thing. Give her a slight one right there, and then this one's going to be her high lift. I'll do one in each section. That way it looks like I'm doing hair. Gina, get her money's worth. I'll actually be doing hair. You guys having a good time so far at the show? Did you guys go to the concert yesterday? Was that fun? Nothing like Vegas to bring out the fun in people. Okay, my high lift, going up a little bit higher, because this is the one we want them to see their depth. And what this is going to do for me, what the high lift color contrasting the blonde does for me, is it blurs the line between the brunette and the harshness of the blonde, and it gives us a nice buffer in between so that blonde can really be a star, because she's competing against and she's going to win. So we want her to be the star all the time. Especially if you're going to put the slight injury to it with your color, and you're going to be coloring her and committing to it, make it worth her while. The Colors by Gina line has amazing oils, amazing properties, amazing sun protectant. So my curly girls, when I tell them I've got a color for them, they have no problem trusting me, because they know I wouldn't put anything in their hair that's going to alter the integrity any more than what we're already doing. So Colors by Gina for me is one of the main reasons I use the line on my curly girls, is all the oils, all of the bonds, everything you need is already in the product, giving you a beautiful shiny finish with a long last. Because again, this girl's only going to come get her color done once a year. She'll come get cuts from you regularly, but she's only going to get that color done every now and then, because with straight hair, as it grows in 5 weeks, it's to here, you see the root. In curly girls in 5 weeks, it's made 2 little circles, and it's right there. You don't see it. So their color is going to last them a lot longer. So take your time with it and get it right, because they're going to be wearing it for a little while before they change it, okay? The top section, again, we're going to go straight across. Where was I? Right there. And we're going to take our next one, and that's going to be our blonde. Okay? That's going to be our blonde. Now, in a perfect world, both sides are done. Okay? Square, 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 square. 4 squares, done. Corner to corner, corner to corner, corner to corner. 4 squares are done. Now we get to this top section. When I parted this top section, that round line, I just put an X right across. Just an X. Straight across. 4 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. Easy peasy, right? Those triangles, instead of all this crazy thinking we have to do, you're simply going to go from the width of the triangle and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And again, that's because if she, no matter where she wants to part it, this is going to look great on her. All of this top is going to have all of the impact, and it's all going to look great. The only thing, again, we're going to do slightly different is this front piece, because that's what Mama wants to see. So we're going to put a little more attention on that front piece. And I like to, again, everybody has their technique of what they do. I do my first one. Get some good finger clips if you work with curly hair too, because they will snap every clip you have, and you'll be like, I'm out of clips. I have to use bobby pins. So get a good finger clip for that. When I do my front section, I do a baby weave. And again, I don't go all the way to the scalp, but I do a baby weave so that it's super thin, right? My second one right behind that, I leave no space in between. My second line right behind that, I'm going to do a full slice. Super thin, but a full slice. Okay? That's my second one. My third one right behind it, I'm going to do a thick, chunky weave. And that's going to give her options, if she parts down the middle, to not see line, line, line. It's going to give her a little bit of depth and difference in between each one of those hairs. Some of the hair in between is going to come through. Okay? We're going to do that, and then throw one more. We're going to come to the side, and we're going to throw 1, 2, 3 going across there. And we're going to do the same thing to the back. Again, this is for my conservative girl. If she wants impact, throw 6 or 8 foils in each triangle. If she wants even less impact, just do 1 or 2 very light foils. You can customize this to them, but make sure you and them, like with every color service, look at pictures so that you know what you're having, what's happening here, and you're both communicating the same. Especially with color, because for me, my caramel is very different than your caramel, or caramel, however you say it. I lived in the South and I lived in the West, so it's caramel or caramel. But make sure you both are understanding light color on curls is, or a heavy foil pattern, or sun-kissed, because my sun-kissed may just be right here, and your sun-kissed might be a grown out with lived in with roots. So I always try to make sure with my curly girls, which way do you part? Do you care which way you part? Because a lot of curly girls let the curls live where they live. Today they want to go to the right, I let it go to the right. Today I parted in the middle. One of my girls today, she's like, I only parted down the middle, and I was trying so hard to part it to the side, and that hair said, no, I'm going that way, and she won. The hair won. So throw as many or as minimal as you want to go in here. This girl, I did half of her head. I left half of her raw. This is how the mannequin head comes. So I left it raw. And on this half, I did the technique we're going to do, we're showing you right now. And you can see she's got multiple tones, high lift and bleach with 15 volume. And it grows gracefully. It doesn't give her harsh lines around her hairline. She can part this any way she wants, and she's always going to have a good curl that doesn't go all the way to her root. So don't be afraid with your curly girls to ask them. And I ask, even I've done curly hair for 25 years. I still will ask my curly girl, what's changed? What are we doing? How's it reacting? Because a curl will go a certain way. She will hit a hormone in her life, a stress in her life, a baby, medication, and the curl pattern will change entirely. Now, these guys are frizzy, this guy's straight, this guy's different. And for us as colorists, as hairstylists, if this area in her head is going to shrink up the most, I'm going to throw a few more highlights on the ends of these to draw the attention from the length that's happening over here. Because it's always going to happen, and rarely will a curly girl let you cut the long hair to match the short hair. They will rarely. Instead, they'll have you hold it with a diffuser and stretch it and hit it till it gets hot, and once it dries, let it get cold so that it can then stretch to the length of the other side. They're not going to let you cut it. So if you're not going to let me cut it, I'm going to draw a little bit of emphasis on this side so that you can see, oh, there is hair over there, just a little less than over there. That's just me. And I do that. Curly girls tend to have the underneath that is either tight, and then this is a looser curl, or just the opposite. This is their tight curl, and this is their looser curl. So for me, it's never the same, not even on the same person. One of my models has 2 or 3 different hair textures, and one of her sections likes to almost like a, you know how ropes look like? It's not a braid. It's like an 8 braid. It's like all connected. One of her sections likes to wrap together like a little rope. So you just work with it. Stretch her out and color it and let her go, and that's what she's going to do. But pay attention to where it's landing. Color curls where they live, not where you want the color to live. Okay? So we've done our triangle here. We've done our triangle here. We've done our 4 triangles. Now she's completely foiled. Again, on her I used a 10.21 high lift with 20 volume so that I can get all of the deposit of the blue and the violet with not a lot of the gasoline getting us into the brassy world. Keeps it there. And then I used a bleach and 15 volume. Let me bring out one of my girls right now so you guys can see it live on a person and see what I'm talking about. Zoe, Lala, you want to come out? Now, these are sisters, you guys, on a personal note. They are sisters, and they were my models when they were 16 years old. I think 9 years ago, they were my models for a Phoenix class, and we've reconnected again. So come on over. This is Gabriella. And you can see, she's my Saint-Tropez. She just got sun-kissed. Give me a slight turn. She just went away, and she just wanted to feel like she got some lightness without, oh my God, I don't want everybody to be like, you got highlights. So we went around, and on her, we did 1 square. This whole section right here is 1 square. And you can see no matter where she wears it, she's not going to have any harsh streaks, not any harsh lines. Color is really pretty at the end, still variegated. Very soft, very healthy. She's got her high lift, which is that really pretty controlled warmth. That's right, it's really cute, colored close to the color of your outfit. But it has a really pretty controlled warmth with 20 volume, and then bleach and 15 volume. And then we toned her with 8.3, which is gold, and 7.0, which is N, 7 neutral. And that's what we toned the rest of her blondes with. And as you can see, it's super soft, touchable, grows out great. She's going to have fun with this, and just no matter where she wears it, that's what it's going to be, okay? And she had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with my girls. Zoe. And this is our sister Zoe. Same parents, different hair textures, different personalities. Now, this is my fun girl that says she wanted to go there. If we're going to go there, let's go there. And she sent me a picture of Fire Engine Red. And I said, Zoe, your mom's okay with that? And she said, I'm a grown woman now. I was like, oh, I regret. So this is what we did. Same exact pattern that I did on sister, I did on her, just a lot less. Sister, I did the 3 threads of the money piece, and then 1, 2, 3. Sister got 6 to 8 in the same triangle that sister only got 3 on. And you get a lot more impact, a lot more color, a lot more wow than you did with the other one. Give me sideways. In the back you can see, beautiful color. To style these girls, because they have different types of textures, again, different fibers, you treat them differently. With this curly girl, I took it in very thin sections while it was wet, slid my gel through from roots to end, gave it a shake, and let it go, and let it air dry. Okay? Nothing else. That's just what she does. Back here, she's got hair that's so straight that it doesn't even want to curl. Okay? Right next to it, she's got these guys that make these jumbo curls. And again, let it do what it does, which is why this is not for cutting, but if it were a cutting class, I would remind you, I cut my curls dry because you want to see where they live. You don't want to cut them when they're wet and they're stretched all the way down here and they shrink up. This one's going all the way up to here. This one's staying down here, and then you're recutting. So I cut them when they're dry so I can see where they live and have fun with them. Let's go the other way. All the way. And you can see, no matter where she pulls up, I didn't curse her in any way that she's going to have to hide the lines, hide the parts, and everywhere you look, there's color. You can't tell any patterns that are consecutive because we went side to side, and straight across. Okay? And she got, and like how she got high lift and a blonde, she got all bleach. Bleach and 20 volume. The entire thing from roots to end, and then we toned her with 7.6, and then I added 2 inches of 0.66 to it. And beautiful, beautiful red. Both of them had virgin hair, which I'm so thankful for. They both had virgin hair. They both lifted beautifully. But again, believe it or not, her hair is incredibly more fragile than her hair because her cuticle doesn't have to lift as much. As you can see, she has more of a square curl, so the cuticles lift flat, but they go this way. Her curls are full on little tiny ringlets. So she has much more fragile hair. Her blonde lifted in 10, 15 minutes. Her blonde took me the full 49 minutes to get to the desired shade. So always be patient with your curls. You never know what you're going to get, but don't be thinking this is a lot of coarse, thick hair and fry it out with 30 or 40 volume because it's going to pop and then it's going to start losing its integrity. And then she'll have all this beautiful dark hair that goes to here and this one wonky curl that's like down there by himself. Okay? And we don't want that. So always look at their hair. We're hairstylists. We know porosity. We know color theory. We know levels and lifts and numbers. Only thing we don't know that's different about this girl from the straight-haired girls is how are we going to finish this that she's happy. Because we all know color. If we just stopped the minute we started panicking when she arrived and went, I know color theory, I know the laws of nature, I know porosity, let me get through what I know first, and then while it's processing, then I'll figure out how I'm going to style this hair. And that'll help you a little bit because we tend to automatically think she's going to be mad when she leaves. She's going to be mad when she leaves. I don't know how to style her hair. But again, talk to her. Most curly girls, they've been traumatized, they've had bad experiences, and they want to work with somebody they trust. Okay? Thank you, my dear. So those are my 2 girls. Same with the mannequins. Aren't they lovely? They're so grown. Same like the mannequins. When you buy your curly-haired mannequins, I highly recommend, if you want to practice, get a human-haired curly mannequin. The synthetic ones are permed first. Get a good quality virgin hair mannequin. The other ones, the ones you buy that aren't virgin, they're first permed. Then they send them to you so it looks curly. Then the minute you apply color to it, it melts. It burns up and melts. So if you're going to invest in a curly mannequin to practice, and I highly recommend it, because you're going to double your money. I'm telling you guys, you're going to double your money and triple your money because if a curly girl finds a good person, they're stuck to you like glue. I recently, 3 years ago, moved 3 hours from Long Beach, California to Palm Springs, California, and people drive. They make it a weekend and they come out and see you because they don't trust anybody else. One of my babies, the one with the longer hair, Zoe, she hadn't had her hair done since 2019 since I last did it. So she had so much breakage and we had so much going on. But inside, I'm like, oh, she didn't let nobody touch it, which is sweet. That's one of our things. And nobody told me when you are a hairstylist, when you leave and move your salons, you break up with hundreds of people at the same time. I'm on my little site looking at them. She cheated on me. That's not my hair. It's been 3 years, Richie. So if they follow you, that's great. If you're a curly person, they're going to follow you. They're going to recommend you and they're going to follow you. Okay? Does anybody have any questions on anything we did? Can we get the mic over here for her, please?
Hi, Richie.
Hi.
Oh, that's loud. How long did you leave your toner for the red?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
30 minutes. And again, because it's red and you know how red fade, before she leaves, I'm going to probably do a clear over it just to seal it in more. Because curly girls wet their hair, I think, more frequently than straight-haired girls. A straight-haired girl can go 3, 4, 5 days without shampooing it or getting it wet, where a curly girl's daily spraying water on it, retaming it, and so the red tends to fade a little bit faster. So yeah, the full time and added the kicker. The red kicker saves you every time.
Thank you.
Okay. And I also, one more thing, whenever I do any reds, not just my curly reds, I make sure to lift to complete yellow, complete level 9, the inside of the banana peel, because I don't like when red starts fading and turns orange. And the minute that red pigment starts fading out, you're left with that yellow undertone, you get orange land. I personally myself just don't do the orange land. Okay? Any other questions? Anybody? Yes, my dear. Can we get her a mic?
I got it.
Oh, go.
I just noticed on your high lift that it had a purple tone to it. Did you add a kicker? Like what'd you do?
Very good attention to detail. I want you on my team when things break off. No, backstage, I didn't bring my high lift down from the room, so this is actual purple color with developer just so I could have something to put on the mannequin. I left my high lift upstairs in the room. But yes, good detail. Any other questions? Any other questions? No? Okay, let's dance. Let's have fun. We have 8 minutes left. Okay,
Jonah.
curly glares. Now, even though it's not curly, another question? Yes, my dear.
What is your clear formula with the Gina?
It's 0-0. Straight clear. Or sometimes I will even use a 10N because 10N doesn't really give much. I'll use 10N and put a little tiny drop of blue in there, blue kicker, and that's my 0. That's my neutral. Yeah, it's just straight clear. Just to go over it, 15, 20 minutes, rinse it out, just to have that sealed in so that it doesn't fade out on you because red goes fast. Okay? On the subject of curls, if you guys are not comfortable coloring a curly girl, do you feel comfortable telling them or will you take it on? You'll take it on? Or you'll tell them, right? Tell them the truth. It's not my specialty. But I find a lot of times if you're open to the idea, especially if they were referred to you by someone who trusts them, they will work with you on it. And that's kind of why I called it comfort curls. I want you guys to feel comfortable enough to go, that guy said just make a square and do a few triangles. Make another square and at least attempt it because you may be great at it and not even know it just from the fear. And fear is not real. Fear is not real. Fear, we make up fear. So yes, do you have a question? Microphone? Oh, I love this. I'm Oprah. You get a call. You get curly hair.
So your techniques really cut the time out for me because I am a curly colorist.
Yeah.
But with you cutting out the time, this might be a little layered and not saying numbers as far as pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, what you did, I was like, whoa. Like, I could definitely cut out like an hour.
And cut off, I'm sorry, not to cut you off, and cut off time doing needless work.
Right.
Filling in these guts in here that nobody's going to see. Filling out that time. So that's what I love.
Yeah.
But yes, my pricing doesn't change. If anything, it goes up. Because I've mastered something that a lot of other people haven't. So you're going to pay for that. I know my work, yes. Yeah. Know your realist and also know your market. If you're the only curly person in your area, like I am, you can charge whatever you want as long as you do the good work. Because my thing is, even though we cut out time, I'm not cutting out integrity, and I'm not cutting out taking care of her hair. So I'm giving her something quicker than she normally had. I'm giving her something of better value because Colors by Gina is such an amazing property. The properties are so amazing. Her hair's going to feel great, and she's going to look good. And she's only going to come every 6 months to a year to get this done. So she's going to love you for cutting her time down, and you're going to love it. But no, my price is, for example, for the red, I would have charged about $750 for that.
Easily.
And I would have done it in we did it in what? It took us 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours, because she has massive amounts of hair.
Yeah.
But it took us about 5 hours. I would have charged her $750.
And I want to ask, because we don't talk about that enough.
No, we don't.
Between
But
girls
we should.
straight. Yeah,
Just like in corporate America, they don't talk about their income, but we should.
Yeah.
And even if it's not to make you feel bad, maybe it's to lift yourself up.
Yeah.
And maybe raise your prices by $10 if you think you're worth it. Yeah. And if you're producing the work, that's worth it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Well, once you learn curls, once you start cutting or coloring curls, you're in a small little market of people. So you can raise your prices or at the very least double your income, because a lot of my curly girls come in for a curly cut, and if they just want a dry cut, we've known each other for years, no styling, just shape me. I can schedule 2 people in that same hour, shape you dry, schedule another, shape one dry, go out the door, and I've made my $500 already, right? Or she can want the whole shebangers, the shampoo, the styling, whatever. I take an hour and a half on her and make half of that. So yes, once you get your market, you know your value, charge what you think you're worth. And the first time they come to you, how they act when they pay you will tell you, okay, I overcharged. Okay, I overcharged. And then next time, maybe don't go so high, or tell her, I'm going to do it this time for you at an introductory price since you let me work with you. Next time, it's going to be this much. But definitely, if you're a curly stylist, know your value, because we're value. I'm not trying to toot, but curly stylists are value. The movement started happening about 20 years ago with naturallycurly.com. And it's exploded, and now every major brand has a curly line. Every major brand is investing in the curls. So you guys invest in yourself and get in on some of that, because, again, they're the happiest, most loyal people if you can make them happy. They just want to feel like the rest of us. They just were born with a slanted cuticle that caused the hair to come out curly. Okay?
Walk their curl. The live pleasure ones off they turn.
Yeah, and a lot of stylists, because they know how to color it, they know how to cut it, they just don't know how to style it, and so they're doing not a very good style on the person, and the person thinks she didn't know what she was doing. What she did, had she let you style it yourself, when I first started doing curls, I was shocked. Believe it or not, I was shy, and I said to the lady, do you want to do it yourself? I do my moms, I do my aunts, I do my cousins. We're Puerto Rican. We all have tight curly, kinky curly, soft curly, loose wavy, good hair, bad hair. We all have it, and I do my family, but I've never done it in a salon. They've always had me straightening everybody in a salon. And she said, do it curly, I don't care. And I was in a huge, massive salon. Hundreds of stylists, hundreds of colorists. It's a massive salon in Atlanta, Georgia. And I diffused her curly. And it was the summer in Georgia, peak humidity. When she walked around the corner with her curly hair, half of the clients sitting in their chair were like, who did hers, who did hers, who did hers? Because they were leaving with flat ironed in hair, opening the door, and poof, the humidity would frizz them out. So once I did curly, unfortunately, a lot of other people's clients left them to come to me, because they could then leave with curly hair too. And it became what I was kind of embarrassed about. My family hair that I do became the thing that kind of makes my living, feeds my daughter and my husband. So we're good with it. We curly, once you learn it, make it your baby, because it is your baby. Okay? And again, I want to thank my girls for coming out and being with me. You guys have a good time while you're here. Learn all you can and enjoy Las Vegas. And this is totally on a personal note, and he's going to kill me. But my husband is sitting right there, the little blonde guy, and we just celebrated our 30th anniversary. So I just want to say thank you for putting up with me. Good night, you guys.